After finishing the modeling process and before starting the texturing process, a mandatory step is to generate UV maps. Textures are 2D images, and we need a map to project these flat images into 3D models because it is just what we need to do. The general process of creating these maps is called UV unwrapping, and it is a purely technical and tedious process that is generally disliked by the majority of artists. To be honest, there are many ways to get rid of the UV mapping process, which is to directly paint on 3D models. ZBrush, for example, offers a feature called polypaint that allows you to paint on a model surface without first assigning a texture map, and the painted surface can be transferred to a texture map created at a later time. 3D Code also has surface painting, which is very similar to ZBrush, in addition to micro vertex and per pixel painting. Walt Disney Studios, aware of the slow UV workflows, developed and open sourced a system called PTEX. It is a texture mapping system used for production quality rendering, which requires no UV assignment. The interesting thing is that it applies separate textures to each face of a subdivision or polygon mesh. Also, one important thing is that PTEX file format can efficiently store hundreds of thousands of texture images in a single file. It actually has been used on virtually every surface on every Walt Disney Animation Studio production since 2008, so it is a very robust and mature system. Still, UVs are the dominant way of applying textures, and they are used both in offline and real-time workflows. In 3ds Max, UVs are applied using modifiers. It is a good thing since you can integrate UVs workflows in modifier stack and have some degree of proceduralism. Two main modifiers are available, which are UVW map and Unwrap UVW. The UVW map modifier is a fast way to apply a basic UV mapping to an object. It has 7 basic geometric projection types such as box, sphere, plane, etc. It will give you a control gizmo that allows you to change the rotation, size, and location of your UV and even animate these parameters. This modifier is very useful, especially for ArcViz projects, where most objects are of geometric nature such as walls, doors, roads, windows, etc. You can of course control the tilting, alignment, and assign a map channel, and you can also stack these modifiers and apply a different mapping to different sub-object selections or different map channels. And you can also assign the same modifier to multiple objects and control their mapping at the same time. Also, a small little feature is real-world map size. It lets you specify the size of your texture in real-world units like centimeters or meters, which is extremely handy when dealing with textures for ArcViz projects. On the other hand, the Unwrap UVW modifier is the standard unwrapping modifier in Max. It supports multiple unwrap objects and has various sub-object selection and manipulation tools such as spin, straighten, relax, and flatten. You can of course create and manipulate seams and use quick projections such as fast planar projection. The tool list is really extensive. It includes face selection lists, soft selections, alignments, precise and quick transformation, straightening tools, stitching, margin, exploding, and so on. It's a professional and mature level tool for unwrapping, but like any other tool, it still needs more features to meet the needs of all artists. Now, the more advanced procedures of peeling, packing, and relaxing the UVs, now they are using the Unfold 3D algorithm inside of the Unwrap UVW modifier, which is just great, because the Unfold 3D plugin was a very respected third-party application for UV mapping, which a lot of artists use. A little gem inside the Unwrap UVW modifier is the spline mapping. It is very handy, especially for curved objects with cylindrical cross-section such as pipes or animals such as snakes, as well as curved flat surfaces such as a curved road or pavement. You can use a spline as a mapping guide on the mesh and manipulate a mapping gizmo for greater accuracy. This method is easier for this type of objects, and it is more suitable compared to the other methods. The 3ds Max Unwrapper is fully featured with all the necessary tools of UV editing, and with the addition of the Unfold 3D, it can be now a high-end tool for this kind of task. But if the need arises, there are more options available to you, such as third-party plugins. Talking about Unfold 3D, its author continued his work on the UV algorithm and made Rhizome UV, a full-featured UV mapping application, with features surpassing most of what you can currently find on the market. Rhizome UV Virtual Space is a UV mapping application tailored for the CG industry, from indie projects to big video games and movie projects. If you're interested, Another very highly respected plugin is Unwrapping for Macs. It is a single-click unwrapping plugin with the main focus on instantly creating UVs for complex geometries and especially massive assets. But to be honest, there are a lot of plugins that you can use for this purpose. And if you want more options, we have dedicated video about this topic if you want to check it out. Working on UVs is certainly an arduous task that very few people can enjoy, and all the major 3D packages have a slightly different philosophy to tackle this kind of challenge, and Max is no different. It is a matter of personal preference, and you're gonna have what suits you most, but on the technical level, the native tools or Max can do the job very well, especially if you have patience, and the available plugins can make the process much better, easier, and much faster. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You can also check some of our previous videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.